Everybody, welcome to Storm Talk. Wave 3 News meteorologist Brian Good here. Several things to discuss, and they're not big things, they're just little small details that can have a big impact on your community, your neighborhood, if you happen to be in the zone I'm about to talk about here. So let's look at the threat for the next 3 days. Now, the day one is getting updated as I am talking, so we'll let you know what that indicates, if anything at all here for the morning period. But certainly for Wednesday and Thursday, we're in the low end marginal risk zone area for thunderstorm action to move through the region. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to avoid rain altogether. The potential is there on a daily basis, just not everybody's going to see it. Now, this is a look. It's a relatively new image because the sun is just not getting high enough in the sky for this to work from the satellite we have in space to see straight down. You can certainly see the increasing cloud cover, the blow-off from thunderstorms around Indianapolis. And if you look carefully, you can see the edge of the cloud cover that's over us is to our east. We're, basically clear in Louisville. It's just that we had this cloud cover that's kind of right on the edge of the city off to the east there that's casting a shadow so far because the sun is over here rising. As the sun rises, of course, there's a cloud deck to your east that's blocking it. So areas that are avoiding or far enough west, I should say, that the cloud deck is low enough in the horizon, the sun's above it, you will certainly benefit from the warmer weather, and we are certainly see that. I'll show you the numbers in a second. But this is what we're going to be watching. Will be the activity out of Indianapolis, how it'll impact us later on today. The visible, again, it's hard to use at this point. The infrared's very similar, but it looks like a thick cloud deck. Overall, it should be relatively mid to high level clouds, and at least initially, but a lot of that would be the thin layer to create more of a hazy sky for a lot of us today. Look at the difference in the numbers. Again, where everybody to the west, because the Earth being curved, you guys are above the cloud line when you look to the east, and therefore you're enjoying a nice bright orange ball in the sky right now. It's allowing you to warm up in the 60s, meanwhile cooler everywhere else. Now, so far the deeper moisture levels are basically around the Louisville area. That's where the warm front is. If I had to technically draw it on the map, warm front's just like that. All right, but a lot of the activity has been north of it, which is what we call elevated thunderstorm activity. This is not a severe weather setup really for this kind of a deal. Now, once the activity gets along the front or just south of it, right along it especially, then you can get some hail potential out of that and sometimes damaging winds, but that's a big if usually. But that's something to always watch for a warm front deal. Usually we don't deal a lot, by the way, with tornadic activity with warm fronts unless it's a retreating warm front. In other words, it's on the move. Then you can get a tornado threat. And this kind of a deal with a warm front that's kind of stalled out and drifting through the area, not exactly the right kind of deal. All right, so let's talk about this band in Indianapolis. Looks threatening, I know, but here's the deal. Because the way the wind flow is at 500 millibars here, the outflow from this is likely going to start to show up soon. We'll be able to at least pick it up on the radar. And again, it may not be entirely rain either, but it will have a very sharp tail curve to it. So as it drifts to the southeast, the curving of the outflow is going to be very sharp to the northwest. And that will continue to be the trend all the way through the afternoon, a very sharp turn. So the question is, how close to Louisville will it be? Because that boundary will likely refire again for the afternoon period, and that will be our thunderstorm chance for today. Now, if it's too close to Cincinnati, then we'll miss out completely out of the thunderstorm chance. I think it's going to be close enough that for those of you from around Jackson, parts of Clark, parts of Oldham, and to Shelby, you guys need to be just on alert anywhere along that zone and north for the potential for redevelopment of some thunderstorms. Here in Louisville right now, it's very iffy that the outflow itself can get itself into our area. It's not out of the realm of possibility. It's just going to be a lot of work for that to happen, and I really am beginning to doubt it. But a couple of high-res models we'll look at here show that it passes through. Again, you can't see it, but the outflow at this point, actually for the HRRR model, outflow is more like this, very, very sharp angle in the HRRR model. So then this afternoon, what it does is then it redevelops the activity right there on that outflow, and you see where the shape of it is, that it's just on the edge of wave country there. Our high-res in-house model, the RPM, similar deal. You can see the outflow moving in. It too sparks a thunderstorm. It's not too far off now from the most recent update of the shower and thunderstorm activity. Again, right on the edge of wave country. Notice Louisville stays dry. So again, it's not a big deal on the rainfall side of things, but we'll keep an eye because there is some decent shear along the front for some gusty winds. It's just a matter of whether or not they can get down to the ground level if they're elevated. We look at PWATS, your potential moisture in the atmosphere. This afternoon, this is where your cloud cover will form. Will be in this blue area, and if there's any thunderstorm action that can develop, it'll be there. Notice how spotty it gets once you get into Oldham County and barely anything to Jefferson. In fact, this is the area that is going to stay dry today. That's a good chunk of wave country that will be dry today. It's only our northern sections, the northeast sections, that are at risk. All right, so as we look at Futurecast for tomorrow, we once again run into a few thunderstorms in that same zone because, again, the warm front will move very little in the next 24 hours. Now, you see these little thunderstorms that move through. This is where the warm front in the afternoon will begin to bend a little more east-west tomorrow afternoon to line itself up. We were talking about this yesterday. It'll be more parallel to I-64 tomorrow. But I think the boundary itself, the way it'll tilt, will end up being between 70 and I-64, somewhere in that zone. And there'll be little waves of energy that'll pass along it. Now, there could be one by Wednesday night that could roll in with some thunderstorms, but overall, I think tomorrow is trending mainly dry and humid. This is your PUI potential tomorrow. It's up there. So we're talking about temperatures in the 80s today, 80s tomorrow, but 80s tomorrow with higher humidity levels. You're going to feel it tomorrow. The reason why the thunderstorm action isn't as impressive is there's just not a lot of wind. But there will be some instability. There's enough here that thunderstorms can certainly blossom, but because of the lack of winds, almost like a very much a summertime deal, when they do develop, they should be slow movers. So there will be a little bit more of a heavy rain, brief flash flooding threat with a couple of those that can develop tomorrow afternoon, along with some brief damaging winds, maybe some hail. But I really don't expect the show to kick in until we see what happens out here in Missouri Wednesday night into Thursday. That setup gets more into our area for Thursday. I think Thursday's going to be a little more active, especially for those along the front, which again should line itself up between 70 and 64. Is where that boundary should be, and that's where the show really will begin to kick in. And then that'll all pull out of here for Friday. In fact, Friday right now, there's not a lot of instability on Friday, so I doubt we'll even have a lot of lightning on Friday. And any rain chance looks limited to Kentucky. This is good news. It pulls out here just in time for the weekend. High pressure in control. The front we've been monitoring for the end of Mother's Day weekend looks to be more toward Monday morning at this time. And it's still iffy how far south it'll go. If it can pull all the way through here, it may very well knock our numbers down a bit as we head into that time period. We'll see how it plays out. Looking further down into the rest of the month, we're still seeing a blocking pattern here. Where was this in the wintertime, right? This blocking pattern, omega block, if you will, taking the shape of the Greek symbol, will keep us very slow in our movement of storm systems across the country, and pretty much rinse and repeat of what we've had so far. We'll see it continue, but hopefully these cooler spells that move through are not as brutal as we went through during Derby time. That's it for now. Enjoy today, guys. I will see you all tomorrow.